This is problem number 5 on the sample test problems for test number 1. Consider the following preference schedule. For the purposes of making this video, you should know that my page here looks a little different than the one in your packet. I put a lot of copies of that preference schedule just so that we could refer to it and have it on the screen here in the video. Part A, find the winner using the plurality method. So we know plurality has to do with first place votes only. So this is the only information I'm looking at. And we're going to count how many first place votes each candidate received. So if we're looking for candidate A, first place votes, A got those 2. Don't write 2, you got to write down how many voters there were as well. 6 and 4 is 10 voters for candidate A. Candidate B, only 1 column, but that's more than 1 voter. 4 voters for candidate B. C had these columns where they were first place. 4 plus 4 is 8 first place votes for C. And then finally, D had just this column in first place, which was worth 3 voters. Don't forget to answer the question, who is the winner? The winner is the one with the most first place votes. So we'll say A wins with 10 first place votes. Part B, find the winner using the plurality with elimination. Same idea as before. I'll highlight the top row because plurality with elimination has to do with counting first place votes. And counting first place votes here is the same as counting first place votes up here. So I'm just going to copy those numbers. And this is where things change a little bit in plurality with elimination. First thing we need to do is figure out how many votes we have total, because we're looking to figure out how many constitutes a majority. So if you add up all the number of voters, I think we should get 25. And if there are 25 voters, how many do you need to get a majority? And you need more than half of 25, so 13 would constitute a majority. And now we're ready to look at these numbers in blue. Did any of our candidates have a majority right off the bat? And the answer is no. And so if nobody has a majority, then you need to eliminate someone. You eliminate the candidate with the fewest first place votes. And of our 4 candidates, candidate D has the fewest number of first place votes. So I will cross off candidate D now that they're eliminated. And then we recount. Round 2. A, B, C. So you're going to recount first place votes, except that up here, that's no longer highlighted in blue, because with D getting eliminated, the first place for that last column is now down there. So you can count all the first place votes highlighted in turquoise now, or you could save a little bit of time and say, well, these 3 first place votes used to go to D, but D is eliminated, so now they're going to C. So the only difference here is that C is about to get the 3 votes that D lost. So A is the same at 10, B is the same at 4, and C is now 3 more than it was. 8 and 3 is 11. We ask the question again, do we have a majority? 13 is a majority. Nobody has a majority, so we eliminate again. The person with the fewest number of first place votes is B now. And so we'll cross off all the B's. And the only one that matters is actually the one that's in that top row. So we're going to go ahead and change our highlighting again. B has been eliminated, which means that the first place choice for that column is now down here. And so same idea as before, the votes that B used to get are now going to C. So these 4 votes are now going to get added to C's total. So in our final tally, we have A and C left over. A is stuck at 10. C now has the 11 it had plus B's 4 more. 15 votes. And finally, does somebody have a majority? Yes, C has a majority. C has won the election. So C wins with a majority. Let's move on to the next part. Find the winner using the board account method. So remember, this board account idea involves points. So there are different ways you can organize your thoughts here. I'm going to go ahead and find all the places where A exists. Count all the points for A. And I'm going to acknowledge that first place votes, when you have 4 people, are worth 4 points. So first place votes for everybody is 4. Second place votes for everybody is 3. Third place votes are worth 2. And last place votes, no matter how many candidates you have, are always worth 1. That might be a safer place to start. Last place is always worth 1, and then work your way up. Okay, so how many first place votes did A have? Let's see. First place votes are only in the top row. 6 and 4 is 10. So A had 10 first place votes that were worth 4 points each. How many second place votes did A have? Well, you can see the second row has no A's in it, so 0. That would have been worth 3 points each. And how many third place votes for A? It's just this one column, which is worth 4. And third place votes are worth 2 points. And then finally, how many last place votes? A has a bunch. All of these, 4 and 4 and 3 is 11. So 11 last place votes worth 1 point each. And then finally, to crunch all these numbers, we multiply and then add. And whatever we get is the total number of Borda points for A. So let's see, we got 40 plus nothing plus another 8 is 48 plus 11 is 59. 59 points for A, and that's the total. So how do we know if that's good or bad? Well, I think we just need to tally up everybody's points. So we'll run through the rest of these a little bit quicker. Now looking for B. Okay, so first place votes for B. That's 4 of them. Second place votes for B. That's 6 there, and another 4 there. That's 10 total. Third place votes for B. 4, and another 4 is 8, and another 3 is 11. And then finally, last place votes for B. There's none. So we'll crunch all these numbers and multiply. 16 and 30 is 46, and 22 is 58. So at the moment, A is on top. So let's get rid of all this stuff in here. And now move on to C. So only looking at C. First place votes, 4 and 4 is 8. Second place votes, 4 and another 3 is 7. Third place votes for C. Looks like just that one column, which is worth 6. And then finally, last place votes, just this column, which is 4. And again, we're going to multiply everything and add. 32 plus another 21 is 53, plus 12 is 65, plus 4 is 69. So right now, C is winning with 69 Borda points. And then the last calculation is going to be for D. Let's erase and start over. Okay, looking only at D. First place, it's just that column, which is worth 3 votes. Second place is for D. We got 4, and another 4 is 8. Third place for D, just this column, is 4. And then last place votes for D, 6, plus another 4 is 10. Okay, 12 plus another 24 is 36, plus 8 is 44, plus 10 is 54. And so our winner is C. With 69 points. And I know with the board of calculations, there's a lot of work to do, just a lot of places where you could make a silly arithmetic mistake. And I will tell you that there's a nice little shortcut you can do to try to check your work. And that goes as follows. If you have 4 candidates, so what I'm saying here is only true if you have 4 candidates. But if you have 4 candidates, then the total number of border points, meaning border points for every candidate, all of them added together, should equal 10 times the number of voters. Only if you have 4 candidates. If you want to know the total number of border points even before you start, you can do 10 times the number of voters. But think about why that number 10, and what that has to do with 4 candidates. But in our case, I think we found up above that the number of voters was 25. So here, we can do 10 times 25 voters. It's 250 points. So if we've done this correctly, then the total of the border points for all 4 of these candidates should be 250. So if we add up all the points, 59 for A, plus B had 58, plus C had 69, plus D had 54, fingers are crossed here that we get 250. 240. Did I make a mistake when I said there were 25 voters? No, I think that looks okay. Okay, so I think we found the mistake. Probably you guys found it a long time ago, but it was here in the row for B. I had said that we had 16 points there for B plus another 30, and that's 46. And I think I might have said 36 earlier. So it should be 46 plus another 22 is 68. So let's fix it, and then all of a sudden math works again. So this race was closer than we thought. 68 points for B. C still wins with 69 points. But you can see a real life moment there where using this nice little check allowed me to find my mistake. So using the new totals, 59 plus 68 plus 69 plus 54, we were hoping to get 250 total. And if I type it in correctly, we will. So if we add up all the votes, we should get the 250. Okay, I've just saved myself some points. Next part is D. Find the winner using the method of pairwise comparisons. Pairwise comparisons is the kind of laborious one where you have to do A versus B, and A versus C, and A versus D, everybody versus everybody, BC, BD, and finally CD. Okay, so if we're comparing A and B only, then we're going to go column one at a time. So for column, the first column, who gets the votes between A and B? A gets those 6. A is on top of B there, gets 4. I'm not going to circle B's votes, but B wins the second column because B is above. And maybe we'll just put a check mark. B is above A there, B is above A there, and B is above A there. So A got the 10 points, and B got everything in the bottom that's not circled, added up, and that's 15. And then we do it again for A versus C. So again, circling A only when A wins. A beats C here, A beats C here. Let's see, C is above A, C is above A, C is above A, C is above A. So it looks like A again gets 10, and C gets the other 15. And we'll go back now and do A versus D. So let's see, A gets those. A is above D there. A is above D there. But here D is above, here D is above, and here D is above. So A did a little bit better that time, 14. And the rest of the points are worth 11. And as a quick check here, every one of our competitions better equal the total number of voters. Okay, so let's erase, and we will start over now. B versus C, only looking at B and C. This time I'll circle B anytime B is above. So B gets those over C. B is over C. Oops, I think we're circling here. B is over C. Here C is the winner. C is above B, C is above B. So I think that's the tally. So B gets the circled votes, 6 and 4 is 14. And the other 11 goes to C. We'll erase and start over. Now we're doing B versus D. Again, I'll circle B whenever B is above D. And D gets that one. B is above there. D gets that one. B is above there. And D gets that one. So 6 and 4 is 14 votes for B, 11 for C for D, and then one more, C versus D. So I will circle C in this case. C is above there, D is there, C is above, C is above, C is above, and then D gets those. 6 and 4 is 18, and then the other votes go to D. So that's 18 to 7. And then in terms of the method of pairwise comparisons, we're looking to award points to each of the candidates based on how many head-to-heads they won. So let's circle the winners in each of these. The first row, A versus B. B was the winner with 15 points. C wins this one, then A wins. B has more there, B has more there, and C has more there. So how many times was A circled? Just once, meaning A gets 1 point for 1 win. How many times was B circled? 3 times, 3 points for those 3 wins. C was circled twice, that's 2 points. D was circled not at all, 0 points. If any of these were a tie, just to kind of mention it, like if this had been 11 to 11, then B and D would both get half a point. Half a point for B, half a point for D. But there were no ties here, so we'll get rid of that. And then we'll pick our winner. So with the most points, B wins 3 points. Okay, part E. Rank the candidates from first to fourth using recursive plurality. Okay, so first we'll get our basic A, B, C, D plurality numbers. We can copy these from the other page or just count them again. First place votes only. It's 10 and 4 and 8 and 3. And so our winner is A with the most. And now recursive means you have to get rid of the winner and then run the election again. So we are going to eliminate A because they've already won. So let's try this here. So we'll give A a smiley face because they're happy they have won. All of the A's go away. And now we count first place votes again amongst the remaining candidates, B, C, and D. And so you'll see that some of the votes have actually changed because these ones here used to belong to A, but now A is out. So the votes go to the next candidate down the list. So B got 6 more, D got 4 more. So if we tally things up, I think you'll find that B has 8, C still has 8, and D has, let's see, D got 4 more, so that's 7. And I realized I made a mistake as I was writing it, but if you don't catch the mistake, there is a nice little moment here where you can catch it. If you add the number of votes, you get 25. That's how many voters there are. Now, I made a mistake when I did this, but if I add these up, 8 and 8 is 16, plus 7 is 23. That's a problem. It should always be equal to the number of voters. So let's see if we can't fix this. The mistake that I made was when I recalculated B. So if we go with B again, B has those 6 votes and these 4 votes. So B actually ends up with 10 votes there. All right, so then we will award B the next victory. So we'll say that B wins by having the most votes. But what do they win? They win second place. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this stuff. And now by winning second place, B has now been eliminated, but for a good reason. So we will eliminate B with a star. So all the B's go away. B is happy to be in second. And then the only candidates left are C and D. So we run this one last time. Looking at first place votes, it's now quite challenging to find first place votes. It's really the top candidate in each column is still left there. So those are my new first place votes. So if I'm just looking for the votes for C, let's see, C gets those 6, D gets those ones, C gets these 4, C gets those 4, C gets those 4, and D ends up with the last column. So if we're tabulating here, I think we find, let's see, 6 and 4 is 10, and another 8 is 18 for C, and then the other 7 go to D. So C wins by having the most. What do they win? They win third. And then I guess technically if we do one last elimination, we'll see that D has all the votes by virtue of being the only candidate left. D wins fourth. So the final ranking here. A was first, B was second, C was third, and D was last. Okay, part F. Is there a Conversa candidate in this election? Remember, a Conversa candidate is a candidate who beats everybody head-to-head. We don't need to do the work again because we've already done it. It's right here. Method of pairwise comparisons is where we did the head-to-heads. So was there somebody that beat everybody head-to-head? I think the answer is yes. If you take a look, B beat A, B beat C, and B beat D. So B was the Conversa candidate because B beat everyone head-to-head. So yes, B beat everyone head-to-head. Does this example illustrate that any election method violates the Conversa criterion? Okay, so again, the Conversa criterion says if somebody beats everyone head-to-head, they should win. So according to that fairness criterion, B should be the winner of this election by beating everyone head-to-head. So if there were some elections where B did not win, then that's an illustration that the Conversa criterion was violated. So let's just go back to the start. Was B the winner using plurality? No, A was the winner, which means the plurality method violates. Who was the winner here? According to plurality with elimination, looks like it was C. Again, it was supposed to be B. B beat everybody head-to-head. So plurality with elimination also violates the Conversa criterion in this example. Who was the winner using Borda? It looks like C was the winner instead of B. That's a violation, so Borda is problematic. And then finally doing pairwise comparisons, who was the winner? Finally, B is the winner, of course, because the method of pairwise comparisons never violates the Conversa criterion, but the rest of them did. So plurality with elimination, and Borda all violate the Conversa criterion in this specific election, since B should have won, but didn't, using those methods. Part G, explain why in this election the plurality method violates the dropout criterion, also known as the independence of irrelevant alternatives criterion. So let's go back to the plurality method, find out who the winner is. So using plurality, we discovered that the winner was A with 10 first place votes. So the idea of this dropout criterion is that if one of the losing candidates decides to drop out, it shouldn't change who wins the election. So what we need to do is try to intelligently force somebody to drop out that's actually going to change the election and make it so A doesn't win. So for example, if B were to drop out, then those first place votes that B used to have would go to C. And if C all of a sudden has these 4 more votes, then C wins the election with 12. A is no longer the winner. Another example you could do is actually have D drop out. And if D drops out, then C gets these 3 votes. And again, C is the winner. If C were to drop out, I don't know that things would necessarily change. If C drops out, D would go up by some and B would go up by some. But neither of them would have enough to catch A's 10 votes. So you have to make sure you pick somebody to drop out that will actually change the outcome of the race. So I will write down that if B drops out, and those 4 votes go to C, which changes the outcome. Okay, so the plurality votes that we counted a while ago were 10, 4, 8, and 3, which gave A the win. So A is the winner using plurality. But if B drops out, then we have a new tally. A is still at 10, B isn't there, C ended up getting those 4 votes, and D is still at 3. So now all of a sudden, C wins. So here's an example where somebody won the election, namely A, but some losing candidate dropped out, B dropped out, and all of a sudden A doesn't win anymore. So this is a violation of the dropout criterion. Okay, and then finally here, H says choose one of the voting methods and give an example of how, under that method, voters could manipulate this election by voting tactically. So there are lots of possible answers here, but I want to be clear, I'm looking for something very specific. I don't want general stuff. I want you to pick a particular voting method, and I want you to pick a particular column or columns in this preference schedule and tell me how those people could change their vote to get a more desirable outcome. All right, let's go back to plurality. It's the easiest one to just look at and list, so I'll write down these numbers one last time. All right, so A had 10, B had 4, C had 8, and D had 3. So according to this outcome, A is the winner. So all we need to do is find somebody who didn't like A all that much and get them to change their vote. So for example, these folks right here in the last column, they really thought D was the best, but D is nowhere near winning this election. But those same people thought A was the worst, and so this is a very unhappy outcome for the people in this last column. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell those people in the last column, hey, change your vote. You're about to get your worst possible thing. A is going to win, but you don't want them to. So what if they just decide to switch the order of these 2 choices here? If 3 people in the last column change their vote by swapping those first 2. So they first vote C, then they vote D, then they vote B, and then they put poor A down at the bottom. Then all of a sudden, the plurality, the first place votes in that last column, go to C instead of going to D. So if they do that, then the plurality outcome is, so we've got A, B and C and D. A and B are unaffected by this switch. But by doing that, C now has those 3 votes that used to go to D, and D doesn't get anything. But the good news for those folks is that C is the winner. There's nothing they could do to get their top choice, D, to win this election. But their second best choice right there was C. And their very last choice was A. So they managed to avoid this unhappy situation and make it so that, well, okay, D didn't win, but at least we can get our second favorite person in there, C wins. So again, I'm looking for you to do very specific things on a question like this. Pick a voting method. Pick a particular column of people. Tell me very specifically how that column of people could change their vote, and then show me what the improved outcome would be.